to our last season finale episode of Dexter New Blood Who Dis fan podcast. This is Michelle.
I am at Ref Marsh.
And we will be checking out the last episode finale, Sins of the Father. And we are super hyped.
Super hyped. Not happy.
I've been so happy with this whole season. I mean, it's really taken us for a spin. I think if you were unhappy with original Dexter's ending, I think this is a perfect pickup from there.
Yeah, the season has been phenomenal. I don't understand how I go from that to 1 hour left, and that's it. You were done. Wrap it up. Ship it on, guys. We did it. Close it down.
It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. And as we saw in this last episode, which was the family business, I mean, they can get a lot done in one episode. They know if they need to hurry it up and tell a story, they will do it in a fast, poignant way, I think.
Yes, they could rush through the story, not saying they are, but
yeah,
they could rush through, get a whole lot done in an hour, none of which do I think results in me going, yeah, that's it, they did it. That's enough of that. No more Dexter for me. They've built such a world and a community here that you want it to continue on one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it is so different from original Dexter, where I would not have been okay with the thought of Dexter dying in original Dexter because of how it ended. It felt very abrupt. Mm-hmm. And I had assumed that it was going to eventually pick up or go somewhere. I didn't think that was it. But for this Dexter New Blood, I am in a place where I'm okay if they do happen to kill off Dexter somehow.
Yeah, I think that in the original series, he was such a master of his domain. Mm-hmm. He was in such control of everything that if he had died, it would have been such a strange, weird blindside. Mm. In this case, he is just misstepping left and right. He's not in control of anything. He thinks he's in control when he's not. Mm. He's got no inside information, so he really cannot get a grasp on where everyone else's mentality is. When he worked for Miami Homicide, he could literally hear from everyone at any given time where their mind was and help get them in a different direction. He can't do that with Angel.
Yeah, and she's been so different than his other characters in the past. She's definitely not like Deb. She's thinking on her own, or at least trying to, right? And she, in the last episode, has been much more careful around Dexter. She's just trying to just get by without raising suspicion. Although it is still strange to us that she and Dexter never talked about them getting back together or their relationship in general. But we're going to move past that and see where this goes.
Yeah.
But I've been super, super happy with just the entire cast and just the way that this whole crew has been really they've just been really on point with what they're trying to do, the story they're trying to tell, the music, the shots, the lighting. Like, I feel like all of these details have just really been an amazing show. It's not gone unnoticed.
Yeah, I feel like the production quality of the original series was very cool and neat and identifiable. I feel like the production quality in this particular series, The New Blood, is not only enhancing the story, but it's telling its own. Mm-hmm. It's bringing storytelling through the edits, through the music, through the cuts in a way that the original Dexter didn't. Mm-hmm. Those elements were merely to enhance what you were already seeing.
Right.
This is one where it feels like there's a whole other story inside the production in and of itself.
Yeah, it feels like you better be paying attention, because if not, you're gonna miss part of the story possibly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'm ready for wherever they take us, whether that be Dexter gets killed or if Harrison. So I would like for there not to be something with Harrison going, being killed off, but Yeah, I mean, let's see where this takes us.
Let's take a stab at it.
Okay. So, beginning of Dexter New Blood, we've got Angela listening to Molly, which is great because that is kind of what Marsh had predicted.
Yeah, when we were rewatching the other episode, the last episode right before, as soon as she pulls out the recording from the
Hotel.
safe, I was like, I hope they open the episode with that, whatever the recording is.
And you nailed it. And I love Molly's intro. I love the way she gets so excited, just as, you know, a true crime podcaster would. And the way it moves on, and Dexter is talking to Harrison and trying to convince him to move, which makes sense because it's such a small town that things can lead back to them. And I think it was early on, I had wondered, like, what if they did go back to a big city like LA?
Yeah.
So I just thought that was hilarious that that's exactly what he proposes.
Yeah, well, because you can't stay in Iron Lake forever, and if you've had all these missing people and that's been the one ongoing thing and you solved it, the other stuff was really frills. Jasper was... Did he really kill people, or was he just lacing drugs? You know what I mean? Like, he was kind of a circumstantial thing based off of Harrison. The guy who was working for Kurt was circumstantial because it was kill or be killed. Matt was kind of a barely fits the code kind of a deal. Kurt's the only one in this whole city that truly fit that code. And now what are you going to do? So yeah, the idea he wants to uproot and go makes a lot of sense.
And also, it's just easy to blend in, right? Here in Iron Lake, he just sticks out like a sore thumb that's trying to blend in. He doesn't actually fit, and people still asking about his past. At this point, Angela knowing some of it is even dangerous. Yeah,
Angela already knows too much and is too suspicious, although he doesn't seem to be aware of that. If she's got nothing but time to research him and stick him to stuff, then yeah.
Yeah, and I just thought that was that moment where Dexter looks over at Harrison and says, "What do you think about LA?" And Harrison's kind of thinking about it. He says, "Can we get a pool?" I mean, Dexter's look of relief is just like, wow, he is so proud and happy and just like, yes, we're in it together. This is my kid. We're doing it.
Yep.
It's just, it's eerie. And I'm partly wondering if the intro, when it had New Blood, the text, the font was completely red this time. I wonder if that's going to signify Dexter is completely back to being old Dexter. His cycle has begun, and he is going to go back to being comfortable and in control of his world.
Or, alternatively,
yep,
it has nothing to do with Dexter, and the New Blood is a symbol of Harrison.
Yep.
And this is the moment where Harrison becomes completely engulfed in his own Dark Passenger. But realistically, thinking about it from just like a parental concept here, he was talking about how cool it was. There was a time I would have really liked to see this, where my son's being embraced by friends, where he's comfortable. He says, I'm starting to feel like I fit in. Mm-hmm. Dexter, instead of letting him live that life and potentially being able to work himself through and away from the Dark Passenger, is now Emperor Palpatine saying, let that hate flow through you. We can harness that evil and use it for good.
Evil. Yes. Evil.
So it was this also the moment where Harrison becomes consumed, because that's by the pushing in direction of Dexter.
It's almost as if, it is. I could see that, because Harrison, it seems like he keeps repeating the line, and we're doing good, we're doing this to save people, right? It's almost like he's really trying to convince himself that this is okay.
Yeah, he's teetering. He's showing signs of, he doesn't have to go down a dark path. He could lean into goodness. But Dexter's like, no. The goodness is doing the murders.
And what's wild to me is, like, he is Rita's son, and Rita was just everything good.
Yeah.
So it's interesting from that aspect that, he is not Dexter. He is definitely got some Rita vibes.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't want to be like this. thinking maybe someone from his past is going to come back.
Yo, not only...
My theory was Batista.
You've been saying Batista.
I have.
On this show. Dexter New Blood, who dis?
Who dis?
And just last night, I don't even know if I told you. I don't think I told you. I didn't know if you're going to notice.
What?
Someone made a comment on our last episode, and they said, Batista is not coming back. Drop it.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh yeah!
Told you what? That is right. I'm just saying, we all love Batista. I mean, how could you not, right? He was one of the best characters on Dexter. I love him coming back. I did not think that he was automatically going to be on Maria's side, LaGuerta. But the fact that
he was always kind of there with her.
He was, but he was such a friend to Dexter that I didn't think this was going to be his first reaction of, wait, hold up. Oh my God, you might have something. I think maybe she was onto something. So I love that he's so involved, and he's like, hold on, I will be there tomorrow morning. Mm-hmm. And of course, Dexter, is crafting up this new plan as Angela is telling him this. And in the back of my mind, I was wondering why or when he was going to give up Kurt's underground layer of victims. I was wondering if he was going to use that as leverage or as a distraction. Mm-hmm. And he finally does, right? He tells her, turn the camera off. Look, I can give you this if I tell you, like, sure, you're right. Yeah.
You've been saying it all week. And every couple of days you're like, well, I just keep thinking he's going to use it somehow. And I was like, okay, he might. I don't know. Just tell you. But to see him do it this way, it was kind of like, boom. The way he did it, too, is like, what if I say you were right? And she goes, so you're admitting this? He goes, no, I'm saying you were right about her.
Yeah. So smart. Dope. So smart. Dope. His use of persuasion here is just... It's like expert style. He's kicked it up a notch. Because before, I think he was trying to win her over with his old, right, like, hey, this is how I work Deb, this is how I worked everyone at Miami. This is new. Like, she is not buying any of his BS. And so for him to kick it up and be like, all right, here you go. Here's a whole thing you could win. All full well knowing you're not going to catch Kurt because he's dead.
He's gone. And if he can distract her with a manhunt on Kurt and say, you know what, this is much worse and much more important or whatever, then boom, it is what it is. But like,
he can hightail it.
What I want to know, and I'll probably never know,
what?
How much is Michael C. Hall bringing to this project versus the writers? Because we know the writers have been massive fans the whole time. Mm-hmm. This level of character awareness feels like it's got to come from Michael C. Hall.
Actually, I have been listening to the official New Blood podcast, which I highly suggest if you are a fan of Dexter New Blood, you should totally be listening to their official podcast. It's really cool. You get to hear the writers talk, you get to hear the editors, the director, like it's amazing. But I have heard from their end that Michael C. Hall, like even Kurt, the actor who plays Kurt, he said, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get from him. Like he'll bring something that you weren't expecting, and it's just like magic. Like a small example is the scene with the clown. They didn't know he was going to turn around and bump the nose off. Just little details like that. He knows this Dexter character so well.
Yeah.
He knows it so well that they shouldn't, direct to the T. They give him a direction, and he just knows how to play it.
He just knows it.
He just knows it so well.
It's in him.
It's awesome.
And it's crazy. I did get the absolute joy to see him perform on Broadway. Michael C. Hall.
I'm so jealous.
And I remember thinking even to myself, like, how am I supposed to accept this? Knowing full well that I've been super attached to him as the Dexter character, and before that, the character from 6 Feet Under. The name escapes me. And then, before even seeing it on Broadway, the audiobook of Breakfast and Tiffany's was narrated by Michael C. Hall, and I bought it to try to listen to it. I couldn't get through it because I was like, this feels like Dexter telling me the story of Breakfast and Tiffany's. I'm terrified. There's going to be a twist that wasn't there before.
Oh my God.
I couldn't do it. But seeing it on Broadway and watching him immerse himself to a whole other character in a different way, I was like, he's a master. Absolute master. He does not get enough credit for who he is and what he does. So all I'm saying is in this particular scene, I felt like this all came from Dexter, which would all come from Michael C. Hall. And in my mind, I'm thinking, who the fuck can write this for him? You know what I mean? Like, I always take it back to wrestling because that's what I know. It's what I do. There's a lot of wrestlers, you can't write for them in their voice because it's their voice.
Right.
Right?
It's their character.
But also somebody who's written some comedy. Sometimes you can write comedy for other people's voice because, like, you know how Chris Rock sounds. You know his cadence.
Yeah.
Louis C.K., you know his cadence, his sound. Ricky Gervais, you know the details, the way he goes. It's not incredibly difficult to write someone's voice and be like, this is the kind of thing this person would say.
Right.
I feel like, though, with this Dexter, the way it was portrayed, like, you forget that there's lines written at all, and then you wonder, can anyone present dialogue to Michael C. Hall and say, Dexter would say this? And have him go, would he? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you're not going to present to Kofi Kingston or Xavier Woods and say, this is what the New Day would say.
Right.
They'd be like, I'll tell you right now what the New Day would say.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't even, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's really in his, like, subtleties and just the way you see his expressions change. The minute Angela says, you know what? I don't think everyone has, your theory. Other people from your past had your theory. And once she mentions Batista, you see his whole face change. And oh my God, it gave me chills. Because that's the moment where it was just like, oh shit, it is getting real. And he knows it. And he is like, his mind is probably going a mile a minute trying to think of the next excuse. Like just the way that you see that on his face and his whole body, like his whole posture, everything non-verbally is just amazing.
It was 100%. This will be a tough one to get out. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as he says Batista, he's like, he'll be a tough one to convince.
He's like, ooh, pickle.
Yeah.
But, and I also gotta give credit to, like, the entire cast because, and I know they mentioned this on the Dexter podcast that, the actor who plays Harrison, he has to really, step up because you're working with Michael C. Hall. I feel like all the actors that come into play with Dexter are just really kicking it up a notch, and they're just doing a fantastic job.
I will say the show I saw him on Broadway was Keeping Up with the Joneses, and I remember Marissa Tomei. I remember
God, I'm so
what's
jealous.
her name? Toni Collette.
Oh my God, really?
And there was someone else in there, and I can't remember who it was. And I'm gonna be kicking myself in the foot because it's probably gonna be like a Lithgow or something.
Oh.
But I remember, just thinking, oh, this is a bunch of great names, and watching it all come through, you're just all like, holy shit! Like, how do they get each other on that higher level?
Yeah.
Like, to have so much respect for everything that they've done already, to think of them as such high performers, and then to see them perform live in such a way where you just go,
shit,
they're better than I thought.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I'm so impressed by everyone in this episode. Like obviously I was impressed with everyone in previous episodes, especially Kurt, but this one I feel like is getting so intense that everyone is showing up, and I'm immersed in this world. Yeah.
Michael C. Hall may be the Bret Hart of acting. He gets everyone up to a higher level. Where you go, is this other person an incredible actor? Or is Michael C. Hall making this person look like an incredible actor? You just don't know. And
I gotta give props again to production because I thought that was so cool when Michael C. Hall, I'm never talking about him so much. When Dexter gets arrested, the moment he's thrown in the cop car, you get that radio music again. You do not get that instrumental new Dexter New Blood music.
Yeah.
You are getting back to radio soundtrack.
You don't get Dexter in control music anymore. Now you have the world that Dexter is in has control of him.
Yes, and I thought that was so nicely done.
Well done. And the Radiohead song was
cop taken
a little on the nose, but appreciated.
Oh my God!
Let's go, Dexter!
No.
What do you mean no?
Oh my God, Dexter taking Logan and
choking him out like a bitch.
Choking him out.
Fuck you, dude.
Oh, we screamed. Oh my God.
It was a bit wild. It was a bit much. I don't know, because I didn't feel like it had to happen.
It did not.
He feels so cornered by Batista more than anything.
Yeah. Well,
in the process of the legal system is the other thing, right? Because why else would he be telling Harrison, meet me now, we're leaving now?
Yes. If
he didn't think that, like, hey, I can get out of it. Because if she says, I'm moving forward to press charges on all these other fucking things, he knows, well, that's at least X number of years.
And,
you know what I mean?
Right. But also you have to think that what we thought in the very beginning, how different this Dexter is in that it is so much more schizophrenic, right? Yes. You've got Deb. And at first, I just thought she was going to be a straight up shadow because they had her shadow.
What a great shot.
Speaking to Dexter for quite a while before you actually see her silhouette.
Yeah.
And so it's like, or her backlit, sorry. So for her to be still nagging him in this moment of like, look at where you are now is just, and him actually yelling, right? Him yelling back. When you look at it and you kind of like zoom out, you're like, wow, he looks like an insane person. He looks like he's in a like ward, right? A mental ward. And so like that just got me thinking like, wow, he like it was kind of sad, but then for him to go that far with Logan, the minute Logan put his hand down, right? I was just like, don't do it, man. Like he is in a not good space right now.
And he had him in a grip.
I
worked corrections, and one of the things we did was teach each other chokeholds. But if you get the right chokehold on the side of someone's face, I had one dude who was so good at it.
Yeah.
He could get you unconscious in 3 seconds or less. Because he could pop it on you, and before you even realize, he put enough of a squeeze that there was enough oxygen loss that you're just out. And I remember thinking about how amazing he was. And I had him show me a couple times because I've been in chokeholds before, and you could struggle your way out, right? This was a dude where he had me in a chokehold, and I started to struggle, and he did just enough squeeze where I went, oh, that's it.
And then you just pass out.
And that's it.
Okay.
And it's within seconds. So the idea that he could hold someone like that and say, get it, right? And then the guy pulls the gun, and that's when he does it. 100%. That's an actual. That's a.
That was legit.
Yeah, I don't remember the type of martial arts the guy knew who was showing me that stuff. I kind of want to say Krav Maga, but I'm not positive, and I don't want to like lock that in. But yeah, if you get a nice solid choke on someone, and you've got your bicep and your forearm on both sides of their neck just right, you can hold them in a place where they're slowly losing consciousness and they're aware of it. But then you can also pull back just a smidge, and they're done. That's it. They're out.
And I thought it was really interesting that Dexter, as he has Logan in this hold, he's still having that internal dialogue of, you're too good, Logan. You're just, and that to me was wild. That this is, shades of old Dexter, right? Like inner dialogue is flowing. Do you think that had he given over the keys versus shooting a gun, that he would have been killed?
I don't think he's been killed yet.
Okay.
It's really hard to tell.
Okay.
It's possible a ricochet from the bullet hit him.
Okay.
But if he did just squeeze and choke him out, he'll wake up in 2 or 3 minutes. So that's why he's rushing, I think, because he knows that he's got a little bit of time for him to wake up and come to.
I was very shocked at this move because I thought that he's got time. All he doesn't, they don't have any real evidence on him, like we were talking about. Mm-hmm. So I was surprised that he went this route, but also I think like what you said, like his schizophrenic mind, right, with Deb as his consciousness right now is what also is making him uneasy.
Yeah. And it's been
frantic.
Years. It's been years since I've worked in a prison. But as soon as he asked for water and I see Logan walking over there, my first thought in my mind was, tell him to get on the other side. Tell him to get on the other side.
Yeah, he did when he brought the meal.
When he brought the food, he did it. I remember thinking, yeah, that's how you would do that.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, there's a lot of inmates who I had no issues with.
Yeah.
And I felt very comfortable around.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I'm feeding you something through that slot,
portal, a little port,
you're gonna put your hands on the other side. Mm-hmm. So 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Whether I liked you, hated you, respected you, didn't, that's just protocol because you never know who's gonna turn when. So for me, when I was like, what's he doing? Yeah. Tell him to turn around. Because if nothing else, if I didn't make someone walk as far away from me as they possibly could, it was turnaround.
I was also surprised that they didn't have a camera on him already in the cell. I was a little surprised that they didn't hear him yelling at himself. Right? Like, it already looked like, dude, you are like a little mental.
That's not as crazy as you think.
All right.
People being in cells by themselves for long periods of time will start to yell.
Okay. And
it's not necessarily schizophrenic, crazy, or anything.
Okay.
Things happen to people when they're locked in these cells. So I would say that there's every possibility that Logan heard it and thought, it's getting to him.
Okay.
And that was that. You know?
Okay. Oh my God.
Fuck these people.
It happened.
I hate these writers.
This is what I was prepared for, but the way it was done was just, it was tragic, but it was also beautiful because...
It was poetry.
It was. The way that, that was one of my theories is maybe Harrison kills him, right? Because Harrison has a good conscience.
You've been saying it nonstop, and I said, drop it!
Yeah, I know. I had my head on my ass. I did not. Because Harrison is part Rita, right? So, and Rita's just she was so good. The way that he just looked at Harrison and said, do it. Like, it was just, God, shades of, I don't know, like, put me out of my misery. Like,
so Dexter, the whole first 4 seasons is about how he's wanting to feel emotion, how he wishes he felt connection, how this is probably the closest I'll ever be to love. He doesn't ever feel that connection. In this moment he does. He says, I've never felt real love until now, because he also realizes that he's giving himself over to his son and saying, stop this, right?
Yeah, put me out of my misery.
Here's beyond his misery. What Harrison just did, which Dexter never did, but Dexter always took credit for, was avenging Rita.
Yes.
Rita's death was not justice when Dexter killed Trinity after the fact, not knowing.
Right.
It was here now. This was righting the wrongs of Deb and Rita, the people who he actually loved.
And also the other innocent folks.
Yeah.
Flashbacks, yeah.
LaGuardia and
Dokes and just...
Everyone who he's... Well, he didn't care for Dokes, but everyone who he's cared for has died because of a decision that he made.
They're still good people.
And they were all good and innocent and didn't deserve that.
Right.
Harrison just got that justice, just righted that wrong that Dexter kept thinking he was going to fix. I can fix this, he kept saying. Right. Because everything was broken. Nothing was right because it was broken. It wasn't meant to be fixed. Justice isn't a fix. And in this, the only way this can be fixed, the only way you're going to get justice, is if my son puts me down. And
just, it was like heartbreaking to see Dexter say, I can stop. That was just like, oh God, he wants to so bad in this moment.
Because he did crying. For 10 years, he did.
He did abstain from it, right? But
and he even said, with your help. And then, Harrison's not a goddamn caretaker, which is fair.
Totally fair. Right.
But Dexter also knows, if I did it 10 years without you, think what I could do with you. Right. So I think there was an honesty there. There was a realness there. Like, I know if I could do it on my own without you, I could do it with you better. And Harrison was like, it's not the code.
And that's also not what I want from a father. And it was just, it was like heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time.
It's poetry.
It was just, so well done. And I love too, and Marsh had I'm looking over and he has his mouth like just ajar the whole time when Dexter's coaching him on how to use the rifle as he's pointing at him face to face.
Just coach him, take the safety off. Put the butt on your shoulder. Take a deep breath.
Yeah, and then aim in the center.
He starts pointing with his fingers right here. Right here. This is your spot. Like, he's trying to be a father.
Yes, in his last moments.
He's teaching his kid how to throw a baseball, but it's not. That's what he's doing. I'm never going to throw a ball with this kid, but I can teach him how to shoot a man.
It's just, oh God. And Like who? I'm like, I would love to hear, and we paused it at this moment, but right after he shot him. But I would love to know if there's going to be any internal monologue from Harrison's viewpoint, because
I would love if it kicks right in, just Harrison doing stuff, and then just like that with that calm Dexter voice with Harrison's,
right? Because I mean, that's just such a flood of emotions, right? Like he goes from being concerned about his father to angry at his father and just aghast to furious at his father, like within like what 5 minutes. Like it's just insane. And then to now again lose his father is just, oh my god, the things this kid's mind is, and emotions are going through.
Yeah. And think about this: the cops are running up on her now. Put the gun down.
Yes.
Can you really say it was self-defense? Realistically, if you want to take this to court, you had an unarmed man standing 100 yards away from him, and you took a shot at his chest while he stood there. Harrison could go away for life for this. He could.
He's still a minor.
I know a lot of 16-year-olds are going to be doing a lot of life.
Okay. Well, also, all the evidence that supposedly they had, I wonder if Angela would let this go.
It comes down to whether or not they're willing to prosecute, right? Maybe they're not. But at the same time, sometimes that stuff's out of the control of the state. Sometimes you have to I'm just saying it's a complicated thing. Legal's different.
Okay. But also, he can actually, Harrison can actually share the truth of, like, I saw my dad kill Kurt.
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it. I heard Kurt say that he killed him, and he admitted to me he killed him.
I didn't want to do it because my dad. I just didn't say anything.
Yeah, he could definitely give up all that. He could. He
could give that up, but it was just so well done. And I'm not glad that Dexter's gone, but at the same time, I'm so glad about how they did it. I thought it was just done so masterfully.
There's no better. You ever have a meal and go, oh, that's how steak's supposed to be made? You know what I mean? Like we went to this place in San Diego, a kebab shop.
Kebab shack, right? Yeah.
Kebab shack.
In San Diego, yeah.
And I was having this filet California Mediterranean burrito thing, because it was kind of a mix, right? It was an infusion, they call it. And I took a bite and I put it down and I was like, fuck these people. Yeah. Because this is what it's supposed to taste like every time you eat food.
Yeah, the meat was just that good. And
the melody of it all was just that perfect that me, who's worked in kitchens, I know that like on this podcast, it sounds like I've worked every job in the entire world, but I'll tell you right now, I probably have. There was different times in my life where I had 4 to 6 jobs in a given moment. As a cook, like you are constantly coming up with these other recipes and stuff. When I took a bite of this food, I went, I've never imagined a burrito could taste this way. I mean, this is from the Southwest, even.
Yeah.
I never imagined that this is what this could be. I'm getting that same kind of feeling from this end of Dexter, because as much as we've been saying from the beginning, from episode 1, well, if we know that episode 10 is going to be the end of it, then Dexter has to die. There's no way you can say you're doing a limited series with Dexter, we're going to put a period at the end of the sentence, and you don't kill Dexter. I've been saying for the last 3 episodes, fuck you guys for killing Dexter, I know it's coming.
I, on the other hand, Bruce Lady, have been perfectly fine with this, because I want a finish to a story. I don't want it forever hanging, because no show can go on forever.
Correct, except Twin Peaks. But
okay.
And Simpsons. But
yeah, okay.
At the same time, when this moment happened, it was like taking a bite of that kebab shack burrito where I went, oh, this is what it can be.
Yeah, this is perfect.
This is what it should be. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, and
I'll tell you this much. If Scott Reynolds wrote this episode, then he's kind of a dumbass for thinking his last episode was more perfect than this one.
Don't say that.
I liked it. I'm saying the last episode was so good. But if you wrote this one and you said the other one was better, no way, dude. This was masterful. Well, this was a master class.
We got to confirm that first.
I'll confirm it. Okay. At the end of the credits, I'll come back and I'll either apologize or condemn.
But I absolutely love this scene. I know it was heartbreaking, but it also heartwarming at the same time. And, you know, how long can you honestly be rooting for a murderer, because essentially that is what Dexter is, right? I mean, God, he just killed Logan, a good person who had no way to fit the code even. So if you're even going by that logic, like, it doesn't work. So, I mean, it had to end at some point, and for Dexter to finally realize that and do something good in return for his kid, right? You don't deserve this future.
But also Dexter understood and realized, I killed Logan because my drive to be with my son was greater than the code. And if I can't follow the code, I can't be good. Right? Because in his mind, he truly believes that by following the code, he's doing good.
Right.
He knew that he killed Logan, a good man, because of his drive and need to be with his son. And so he looked at him and said, yeah, it was the only way. Not the only way it could happen. The only way I could be with you now in this moment.
Right.
Acknowledging in his own mind that it had nothing to do with the code, and knowing,
oh shit,
any given moment I could break the code just for the desire to be with my son. Yep. Is the only way out is for you to stop me, because my actual love for my son is greater than the code, and there's nothing greater than the code in terms of doing good. So I can't be good anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it just, you hate to see it, but for it to be done out of a place of compassion and love is like,
yeah,
you know, it's just done so beautifully.
Yeah.
Wow, so the last 5 minutes were also just so poignant. Right?
Apologies to Scott Reynolds.
Yes.
He did not write this one. His work was a masterful work the episode before.
Yeah, but now you...
I'm saying the greatest poetry of the end of Dexter was a big one. That's all I'm saying. No disrespect.
I mean, and this one had 3 writers on it, so and this one was just done so beautifully. But Angela does let Harrison go, right? She pretty much covers for him, wipes the gun clean, and says, just get out of here now. Because she knows that he's a good kid. He didn't do it, but he did put Dexter out of his misery. Well, she knows that, hey, he killed the Harbor Butcher at least.
Yeah.
But when he's riding away, and Harrison's riding away, he finally opens the letter that Hannah had given him, and it's Dexter.
Hannah never gave it to him. He found it at the end of it.
Found it. Okay. Right.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I don't, babe. I don't want.
What?
I'm gonna say that all over. Just
okay, so start over with as he's driving away. Start from there.
So as Harrison's driving away, you have him reading the letter from Dexter to Hannah, and it was just the most like honest thing that we've heard him say, except for this last scene, to Hannah about his son, right? That he doesn't want his son to endure what he's gone through, really. And it was like such a loving letter, and it of course it's a shame that Harrison didn't understand it at the time. How could he? But it was just such a sweet letter of I can't control myself. Like, please keep him away because I deserve to just be alone and die.
Yeah.
And I wish that the storm would have taken me.
Yeah, the idea of unless he shows dark tendencies, let me die. Meaning that if he shows dark tendencies, maybe I could be of help. But if he doesn't, I don't deserve anything other than dying alone in the woods.
And in original Dexter, we've heard him say before, monsters don't get to be happy.
They don't get happy endings.
They don't get happy endings. They don't get to be happy. And in every sense, he was a monster, and he did try to control himself. But at the end of the day, he couldn't. And the truth of just hurting everyone around him, he already knew, which is why, this flood of emotions came back to him. So I just thought it was just such a sweet letter and a sweet end to this entire story.
Yeah, the narration of the letter over his drive out of town hit. I've done that drive the drive where you leave town knowing that you're not coming back. And I've done that drive a number of times. And that has its own emotion.
Yeah. Yep.
As you drive by your ex-girlfriend's house, your school, your workplace, you drive by it all on your way out of town because it's just the way that it is. And that's already a lot. And for him to have that narration of the letter with the memories of his father, with the ending that he got, that was a lot. That was a lot for him.
Yeah, especially now understanding the gravity of the letter. Because before it was a letter from just a dad who abandoned me, right? Just some asshole. Yes. But now understanding, oh no, he was serious. He really did have this deep darkness inside of him.
He saw it. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, he told me about this or that.
Yeah, he saw.
I watched him kill a man and chop him to pieces.
Up. Right.
Like, no one understands Dexter like Harrison does in this moment. As much as Deb knew what he did, she never saw what he did.
Well, she couldn't even understand it. That's why after she killed LaGuardia, she had to go away because she just couldn't stand any of it.
She couldn't, and it destroyed her.
Yeah.
But no one, including Deb, understands Dexter as deeply as Harrison does. He saw it all. He feels similar things, but he has a higher moral ground.
Right. And like I'm not even moved to say, oh, they need to start a new Harrison show. Yeah, that'd be cool. However, I don't feel I don't feel it's necessary. Yeah.
I don't know if you would have a Harrison go on a killing spree at that point.
Or I just feel like this is such a closed story, and I am satisfied with it. I'm just so I'm happy it's an end to a never-ending sentence, you know?
You're gonna have to do some contortion to get it to a place where Harrison could kill people regularly enough for a storyline for it to make sense, because of the way that he ended Dexter. He would have to be a legitimate vigilante. There wouldn't be able to be a darkness necessarily. It would have to be all light. It would be a lot to try and sort out. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to the cast. I just thought this was a lot to take on for only 10 episodes, honestly. Yeah. You know, I mean, think about how long Dexter was. You know, it was a long series.
Yeah, 8 seasons.
So for them to actually close the loop on all of Dexter was just fantastic.
Yeah, not an easy task.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bummed we didn't get to actually see some more of
Batista,
but you know, that's just splitting hairs because I love Batista so much.
He's so good. He's just so good.
And I know I know the interwebs are gonna explode because they didn't want Dexter to die, but I just thought this was done so well. It's tragic. However, you are talking about a murderer, so at the end of the day, should you be really cheering?
I mean, that's fucked up. But I mean, there's a whole subculture of people who are obsessed with serial killers, and I wouldn't even say it's that underground of a subculture at this point. I used to read about serial killers all the time, and I was a total weirdo. I'm not less of a weirdo now, but I've got more friends who also read the same shit, and I go, oh, I'm not the only one who's into these things. You look at the most popular series on Netflix; it's all about serial killers. So it's
and horror movies, those are the heroes, right?
Yeah, you don't watch Jason because you want to see Jason get killed and never come back. It's about him.
However, in reality, when there's real victims, right? You're thinking,
fuck that guy.
No, you're thinking, okay, I'd like so-and-so to actually I'd like that murderer to get some justice, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I like the realism of that it's not this fantasy of, oh no, he's just gonna forever get away with it. Because in reality, which I like that's Harrison's viewpoint, right? His was just harsh reality of just everything, seeing everything raw, of seeing his dad chop the bodies up and just, you know, nitty gritty. I like that it did end in a realistic sense that no, it's not this fantasy of you just get to have your cake and eat it too, in a sense.
Yeah. And even we talked about Dexter coaching him through the shooting of him and stuff, but that's a two-way street. Harrison went along with it. There's a lot of power in that moment where Harrison's all like, yeah, like you're saying, yep. You know what I mean? Like, Harrison as a character didn't have to listen to him at that moment. He could have said, shut the fuck up. But he didn't. He was listening to his dad all the way to the end. It's just nuts. I think it could have been okay with Harrison showing a little bit more brokenhearted and emotion as he drove away from town, but that's just because I'm a softie.
I thought he showed emotion. I thought he was showing emotion of like understanding, but also, yeah, like you said, he was driving away.
Yeah, but he's trying to have that stiff chin, and I can get that.
When Dexter's laying, he's laying in his full blood in the snow. I just have like a flashback of when Dexter killed his brother Brian, and I kind of thought, I was like, oh, are they gonna have Harrison go over and be choked up because this is his dad, right? This is a lot of emotions going on, but they didn't. Which is also cool. It doesn't have to be exactly like Dexter, but I did think of Brian as the brother because it's a lot to kill family who understands who he really is.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Dexter knew how Harrison was, more or less.
Yeah, and he was trying to teach him the code because he thought it was a good thing and the right thing to do, and Harrison was able to acknowledge you're not living by the code to the point where you could get him to see it, like, because there were certain points where Dexter was hiding behind the code.
Right.
I had to do these things outside of the code to protect the code. Harrison was able to be like, no.
Yeah, I mean, it was just such a well done conclusion.
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for another series. I really couldn't. Like, I am happy with how it ended because it was just so final, and I loved it.
Yeah, it would, if they did another one about Harrison, it's going to feel a lot like that original spin-off about the daughter.
Yeah, Grace.
Grace.
Was it Grace?
Yeah, they did a spin-off on her, like, higher something.
Yeah.
It would feel like that, where it almost would feel a little bit forced, to be honest, just because of the way that it ended. In such a way where you don't get an impression coming out of this that there truly is a dark passenger for Harrison. Yeah. He has a dark side, but you don't get the impression that he can't control it.
Yeah, and also him being, like, of that, teenager age, like, it just could be him growing up, it could just be him just changing.
Yeah.
Change mind.
Yeah, he could be more aggressive than other kids, but it doesn't mean he can't still grow out of it.
Yeah, so just so well done. So well done. I can't praise it more. For true Dexter fans, I'm hoping that people really take the time to appreciate it and not just say it's not how I would have done it, because I mean I was happy being surprised. I was happy like not having everything how I thought it would go. Like that's not the point of why we watch.
Oh, did it take them like 4 years to write this? Like, because I swear to God, the amount of like detail and I can't use the word poetry enough. Just the romantic vision we have of this Dexter character and the story through it. Like, if they threw this together in 6 months, like, good Lord.
No, I know that there were storyboards, and like I know that there was a lot of thought that went into it. And I just thought it was just pulled off so well. Like, yeah, the cast was excellent. Like the pacing, I thought was excellent. It really took us for such a ride. The whole way through, we thought we were going one way, and it took us. It definitely took us by shock. The whole tone of this whole season, but just so well done. Well, thank you for tuning into Dexter and New Blood Who Dis podcast. Let us know what you thought of this finale and what you think of just the whole season. And thanks for tuning in. Subscribe.
Yeah, jump in the conversation at WOTR the show. I'm at Ref Marsh. Thanks for hanging out and killing it with us.
Thanks for taking a stab at it.